Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Relationships ain't just about love. They're about understanding the psychology behind love. Now, I'm not here to give you a science lesson. I'm here to break it down the way real people live it. Understanding the emotional needs of others builds stronger relationships because it allows two people to truly connect beneath the surface. Every person carries an emotional world with them. Fears, hopes, insecurities, desires, and when those inner needs are acknowledged, a foundation of trust forms almost automatically. People don't bond simply because they spend time together. They bond because they feel seen, valued, and emotionally safe. When someone feels understood, they naturally let their guard down, communicate more honestly, and show up more authentically. This creates a cycle of openness that strengthens the relationship from the inside out. Emotional needs aren't always spoken out loud. Often, they show up in small behaviors, tone changes, or repeated patterns. Someone who constantly seeks reassurance may not be asking for compliments, they may be asking for stability. Someone who sulks instead of speaking up may not be childish, they may be afraid of confrontation or rejection. When you learn to recognize these deeper needs, misunderstandings decrease and compassion increases. Instead of reacting to the behavior, you respond to the meaning behind it. Meeting emotional needs also requires communication, not making questions like, what makes you feel supported? What do you need from me when you're stressed? Invites clarity and prevents assumptions. This becomes a powerful tool because unmet emotional needs often show up as conflict, but clearly expressed needs show up as connection. When both people learn how to communicate their needs and listen to the needs of the other, the relationship shifts from guessing to understanding. Above all, prioritizing emotional needs creates a space where each person feels important. It tells them they matter beyond the surface. And when someone feels emotionally nourished, they give back in the same spirit, creating a relationship built on empathy, respect, and genuine care. Boundaries are not barriers. They are respect in action because they teach people how to love you without hurting you. Many misunderstand boundaries as restrictions or signs of selfishness. But in truth, boundary is the clearest form of mutual respect two people can offer each other. They define what is acceptable, what is not, and what is needed to keep the relationship healthy for both sides. When boundaries are present, no one has to guess where the lines are or feel unsure about how to behave. They replace confusion with clarity, and clarity makes love easier, lighter, and safer. A boundary is not a wall because walls shut people out, while boundaries invite people in with guidelines. They tell the other person, this is how I function best. This is how I feel safe. This is how I feel valued. When someone respects those limits, they show they care about your well-being, not just their own comfort. In turn, you do the same for them. It becomes a two-way agreement of how to treat each other with kindness, fairness, and consistency. Without boundaries, resentment grows quietly. People stay silent, tolerate behaviors that drain them, and slowly lose themselves trying to avoid conflict. Boundaries prevent this by giving voice to personal needs before frustration builds. They allow honest conversations to replace assumptions and emotional pressure. When both people understand each other's limits, they move in harmony rather than stepping on emotional landmines. Boundaries also strengthen self-worth. Knowing what you will and won't accept helps you choose relationships that honor you instead of ones that require you to shrink, sacrifice, or suffer. It shapes a healthier love, where both partners feel balanced and respected. In the end, boundaries don't push people away. They protect the relationship from behaviors that would damage it, allowing love to grow in a space of dignity and understanding. Healthy communication means listening to understand, not listening to reply, because true connection begins the moment you stop preparing your response and start paying attention to what the other person is truly saying. Most people hear words, but they don't hear meaning. They get caught up in defending themselves, proving a point, or trying to win the conversation. When that happens, communication becomes a competition instead of a bridge. Listening to understand slows everything down. It shifts your focus from reacting to relating, from arguing to understanding, and from protecting your ego to protecting the relationship. When you listen with intention, you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You're absorbing the emotions behind their words, noticing their tone, acknowledging their feelings, and giving them room to express themselves fully. People open up more when they feel heard, and when they feel heard, they feel valued. This creates a safe emotional space, one where honesty can exist without fear of judgment or dismissal. In that space, even hard conversations become easier, because the goal is no longer to win, but to understand. This word to understand also prevents misunderstandings. Countless conflicts come from assuming what someone meant instead of asking what they meant. When you ask for clarification, reflect back what you heard, or simply say, "Help me understand," you reduce confusion and build mutual trust. It shows the other person that their perspective matters, even if you disagree. This style of communication also builds emotional maturity. It requires patience, empathy, and the ability to put your own thoughts on hold. It teaches you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. And when both people practice it, the relationship becomes stronger, calmer, and more connected. Instead of talking past each other, you talk to each other, and that transforms communication from a source of stress into a source of closeness. Consistency builds trust because it allows people to rely on your words, your actions, and your intentions without constantly questioning what you truly mean. In relationships, trust is not created by grand gestures or dramatic promises. It is created by the small, everyday behaviors that prove you are who you say you are. When someone shows up the same way over time, it creates emotional stability. The other person doesn't have to guess how you feel, wonder if you'll follow through, or prepare for sudden changes in your attitude. Instead, they relax into the relationship because they feel secure. Inconsistency, on the other hand, creates anxiety. When someone is warm one day and distant the next, affectionate at times and indifferent at others, the heart becomes confused. People start questioning themselves, overthinking simple interactions, and doubting the bond. Often, the issue isn't that the person doesn't care, it's that their inconsistency steals the sense of safety the relationship needs in order to grow. This is why even small lapses matter. If your words don't match your actions, trust cracks. If your intentions don't match your follow-through, doubt creeps in. A pattern of unpredictability slowly erodes emotional confidence. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about reliability. It means communicating regularly, keeping your promises, showing up even on tough days, and making your partner feel valued through stable, steady behavior. When you make a commitment, whether it's to be honest, to communicate, to support, or to love, consistency is the engine that keeps that commitment alive. It demonstrates loyalty without needing to announce it. Furthermore, consistency builds emotional intimacy. The more dependable you are, the more your partner feels safe opening up, sharing vulnerabilities, and trusting you with their heart. Over time, consistency becomes proof of your character. It becomes the reason the relationship feels peaceful instead of chaotic. And when two people are consistent with each other, the bond becomes strong enough to withstand challenges because both know they can count on the other no matter what. Knowing your own worth changes the kind of love you accept because it reshapes the standards you hold for yourself and for anyone who wants a place in your life. When you truly understand your value, you stop chasing people who treat you as an option, stop tolerating half-effort relationships, and stop settling for love that drains instead of nourishes. Self-worth is the foundation of every relationship because it determines the emotional boundaries you set, the behavior you allow, and the type of connection you believe you deserve. When you know who you are, you no longer feel pressured to prove your worth to anyone. Instead, you look for people who naturally recognize it. A strong sense of worth also changes how you interpret love. Instead of craving validation, you look for respect. Instead of clinging to inconsistent affection, you look for reliability. Instead of accepting apologies without changed behavior, you expect accountability. This shift doesn't make you difficult. It makes you healthy. People with self-worth understand that love should bring peace, support growth, and create a sense of emotional safety. Anything that consistently steals your joy is not love, it's a lesson. Self-worth also influences the choices you make. When you doubt your value, you may stay in relationships that hurt you simply because you fear being alone or think no one better will come. But when you understand your worth, loneliness no longer scares you because you know that being alone is better than being with someone who diminishes your spirit. You begin to view your time, energy, and heart as valuable investments, not things to be given away freely to people who don't appreciate them. When your worth is solid, you attract relationships that reflect that strength. You draw in people who respect you, communicate with you, and show up with intention. You become a magnet for healthy love because you refuse anything less. Ultimately, knowing your value doesn't just change who you accept, it changes who you become within the relationship. And that transformation makes love deeper, healthier, and more fulfilling.